All right, the time has come for me to change the water in my hot tub. You can even see that it's a little cloudy and there's a little bit of scum on the surface. Definitely time to change it. I haven't been using it that much recently, but it is over the 3-month mark, and I do like to change my hot tub's water every 3 months or so. So we're going to do that right now, but as I always do before I change my hot tub's water, I do a biofilm clean out to get rid of any lingering bacteria that might be in the plumbing or the equipment. It's kind of like a preventative measure to make sure I never end up with biofilm in my hot tub's water. So I do this every single time I change my hot tub's water. Usually, I use this product right here, Oh Yuck. And I do like it and I do recommend it. I add about 8 ounces of that to the water. I turn the jets on for 1 hour, let it circulate. You'll see it'll kick up a lot of kind of nasty scum on the surface and things like that when I do that. But today I'm excited to try out this product right here. Matt from Swim University just created this product. It essentially does the same thing as the Oh Yuck, but this is only 2 ounces and you only have to circulate the jets for 20 minutes, not 1 hour. So if it does the same job for less product and less time, that's great. Matt sent me this to test it out and I'm excited to give it a try today. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to pour this in and I'm going to turn the jets on, which means I need to turn the power back on to my hot tub. I always turn it off so it doesn't make noise. I'm going to compare the surface of the water after 20 minutes to what it normally looks like after an hour with this product. Then I'm going to drain it. I'm going to clean it out and we're going to refill it. I'm even going to time how long it takes to heat back up so you can see the entire process from start to finish. So first, I am going to read the directions, just since this is a brand new product for me. It says use eye protection. My glasses are fine. Exit the hot tub before using. If you have to say that, you probably need more help than I can give you. If necessary, add water just above the highest interior jet. And actually, I can see that those jets are just a tad low, so I might top it off just a little bit. Remove filters from the hot tub. I always do that with the Oh Yuck, so I will do that also. It says pour 1 hot tub pouch into the hot tub for every 500 gallons. My hot tub is at least that. Turn jets on high for 30 minutes to circulate. Of course, the jets time out after about 15 minutes, so I will have to restart those. Foaming will occur and is a normal part of the treatment. If excess foam threatens to overflow, turn the jets off temporarily until the foam dissipates. Then restart the jets until 30 minutes of cumulative cleaning time has happened. Turn the jets off and drain. And obviously we want to cut the power before we drain it. Wipe down interior shell as foamy water drains to prevent gunk from sticking to the acrylic shell. Reinstall the filters and then obviously fill it back up again. All right, so that's exactly what we're going to do, and we're going to see how well this works compared to the Oh Yuck that I normally use. All right, it's a little noisy, but you can see there's lots of foam kicked up. There's also some green scum around the edge, and it has only been about 30 minutes. And so I'm pretty happy with this. The results look very similar to what I'm used to with the Oh Yuck. So that green scum line doesn't stick, I am gonna kind of gently scrub the perimeter with this, because I don't want that to stick, because then it'll be really hard to get off of there once it dries. So I'm just gonna kind of scrub gently. I don't want to scratch the shell. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the jets off though. You can hear it's either the heater or the filtration cycle that's still running. I'm going to turn that off in a second when I cut the power. But again, doing this now while it's wet is going to be way easier than waiting until the hot tub is drained. Now I'm going to cut the power and we're going to go ahead and start the draining process. All right, so I've got the power cut. The jets are obviously totally off. I am going to go around the perimeter now that the jets are totally done with this brush one more time just to make sure all of that gunk is loose, because I want as much of that as possible to drain out when we drain the hot tub. All right, good enough. As always, I've got my submersible pump here. And these are lifesavers. It'll drain the hot tub in about 15 minutes as opposed to maybe an hour or two if you just used a garden hose. It's got a float here, which is what tells it when to kick on. It's not going to do anything until I drop it in the water, though. It is already plugged in. And then this is the hose that I'm just going to run to a discrete part of my yard. I want to drop this in the very middle section of the hot tub where it's deepest, where the footrest is. And I want it to be upright. And then the hose will automatically start to inflate with the water. And I'm just going to kind of run that over the fence over here. So now I'm going to show you. That's about the maximum amount of water you can get out of a hot tub by draining it with a submersible pump or a garden hose. See, there's a little bit of water left in the seats and of course in the main footwell. You also see that one of my jets came loose, one of the big guys, so I just need to put that back in there. That's just gonna kind of screw in almost like a light bulb. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the wet dry vac out and remove all of this standing water. Shouldn't take too long. Probably, I would guess maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'm going to kind of give everything a quick wipe down with a damp, smooth cloth, ideally like a microfiber kind of cloth. Okay, so as you can see, most of the water is gone. When we fill this back up again, any remaining pockets of slightly dirty water are going to get very, very diluted. Now I am going to wipe this down because you can see some of that water down there is brown. I'm going to wipe it down now and then we can start to fill it back up again. Okay, I also want to point out too, I just have a couple of washcloths because I couldn't find a microfiber cloth. I also have some white vinegar here. I'm going to use a little bit of that diluted with some water. I don't want to use a lot of this because of if there, a lot of residue gets left on the shell, that could impact the pH of the hot tub once I fill it back up again. It's not really that big of a deal since it's totally empty, but I don't really want to mess with the pH of the water coming out of the hose, and too much white vinegar could definitely do that. But this is a great thing to just kind of wipe down the scum lines. And again, even though you saw me do that with the scrub brush, there's still a little bit of that right here. So I'm just going to kind of go around the entire hot tub and wipe it down like that. Then we're going to fill this thing up and see how long it takes to heat back up. So as you can see, I kind of wiped everything down. It may not be 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. And again, as we fill this thing back up with water and then we adjust the chemicals, any remaining debris, however small, is going to get very, very diluted and then trapped by the filters that I'm about to put back in as well. But I'm going to put the filters back in and then start to fill this thing up. Should take less than an hour to fill up, but maybe as many as 6 to 8 hours to heat up. Real quick, I just wanted to point out that there is some scum in the filter compartment as well that I'm going to need to wipe down. Just wanted to show you that. All right, so a couple things while this is filling up. I wanted to measure the temperature of the water coming out of my hose. Right now is early November outside of Austin, Texas, so it has been chilly at night, in the 30s actually, and then probably in the 60s during the day. So the water is a little colder than it had been during the summer. So I'm going to kind of measure the temperature here. Looks like it's holding steady at about 73. If we want to get this thing maybe to 102, we'll see how long it takes to heat up. Of course, I'm not going to actually power anything on until the water level gets much higher. It doesn't necessarily need to cover the top of every single jet. Those water intake valves down there at the bottom certainly need to be covered, but I'll probably wait till it's at least halfway up, because as these jets kick on, it's going to start to spray everywhere, and we don't want to necessarily spray a bunch of water outside of the hot tub. So it's going to be at least halfway full before I start to turn the power back on. Okay, as you can see, it's time to turn the hose off. It's been exactly 54 minutes. That's how long it took to fill this back up. I didn't cut the power on yet. I probably should have done that maybe 10 minutes ago, but I'm going to cut it on now so that we can start heating, and then I'll time it to see how long it takes to reach 102. And as you remember, it was 73 coming out of the hose. It's also worth pointing out that you don't need to shock or sanitize the water yet. This water is brand new, it's pristine, hasn't been contaminated with anything yet. I'm going to put my bromine floater back in, but I don't need to shock it because this water is perfect. I do, however, need to adjust the alkalinity and the pH. So I'm going to dip a test strip in now and see what I need to do there. So I'm going to dip a test strip in, as I always do, shake off the excess. I'm going to hold it up to here. As you can see, it looks like alkalinity is a little on the high side, and pH is probably okay. So we're going to lower the alkalinity a little bit, and hopefully that won't also lower the pH by too much. Naturally, though, having the jets on does slightly raise the pH, so hopefully that'll be okay. I'm going to make that adjustment right now. All right, and remember, as always, anything that adjusts alkalinity will also adjust the pH and vice versa. Those two are interrelated. So I know that we don't want to lower the pH by too much, so I'm going to kind of start small. I can always add more. I can't add less. I just have to either drain it off and top it off or play the waiting game. So I'm going to add about that much of this alkalinity decreaser. And again, I'm going to turn the jets back on now and let it circulate, and then we'll test it again in about 15 minutes. All right, I'm again going to test. Did turn the jets off, but you can hear the heater still going. And that's okay, it's not as loud as the jets. So, we obviously know there's no chlorine or bromine in there yet, so I'm not worried about that. There is the alkalinity and the pH. So, looks like I could still lower it just a hair, but it's better than it was. And the pH is still okay, it's not down here. So I'm going to add a little bit more of that alkalinity reducer, and then we should be perfectly good to go. And again, I'm going to put my floater back in with the bromine tablets so that it does start to sanitize the hot tub over the next few days. But again, brand new water out of the hose. We don't need to add anything right out of the gate. All right, I just checked it. We're at the 5-hour mark and it's only at 86 degrees. So it's gonna take a little while longer if it's gonna get up to 102. But the temperature is dropping rapidly out here. I'm guessing it's well into the 40s at this point, which does slow the progress. All right, it's bedtime and it's still not quite at temperature. It's 94 right now, and we're a little past the 7-hour mark. So my guess is probably gonna take the better part of about 9 hours to get to 102, given that where it's at right now and the ambient air temperature. Again, it's probably below 40 at this point here. So I think probably about 9 hours is about right. And of course, if it was summertime, that wouldn't be that long. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.